Center.
Man,
Let's go.
let's go out here, man. Let's go right now. We are live. We are absolutely live, man.
We are
The
live.
49er Empire podcast is live, and today we have a special guest. But before we introduce my man, my name is Akeem. I am the host of the 49er Empire podcast. My co-host here is Blair Coates. Today, special guest, big time coach, coaching currently at Oklahoma. Hey, I'm gonna say OU, man. That's what they call him. Hey, my guy, Coach Cain, is on the scene, on the set, and we ready to talk, man. How you doing today, brother?
Good. Appreciate you guys having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming, man. I know it was huge for you to win that bowl game. Let's talk about whooping the SEC team right now. Give me a little bit about the feeling of winning a bowl game. I know you get a ring and all that, so I would love a picture of that when you get it. But let let me know how to go, man. I seen the game personally. I seen the game. I watched it, man. I was checking y'all out. Let me know, man. How'd it go, man? How did that feel to take that victory, man?
Nah, it was it felt good, honestly, just because, just rewind a little bit. Like, guys that come from our playground don't get to coaching games like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so you gotta take in that moment. And in pregame, just walking around and seeing all the festivities and looking at the jumbotron and realizing, like, dang, man, I'm really in Jerry's world, like about to play University of Florida. Like I said, guys from our playground, we don't get used to that. You know what I mean? So I had to take that in for a moment and just soak it in before I even thought about the game, like thought about where I came from and everything. So, and then on to the game. For us at University of Oklahoma, we felt like, we had to get that monkey off our back because we ain't won a New Year's Day 6 game in 5 years. So Coach Riley hasn't won a bowl game since he's been the head coach. So then Florida came out, and their Florida said their starting linebacker said something crazy to the effect that, like, Oklahoma's not on the same level as us. We're not SEC football level, and it should be a good matchup. And at the end of the day, our players are men too, so we take that serious. I take that serious. So that was a direct shot at me, direct shot of our players. So we came out and it did what we had to do. But in the middle of the game, we came out hot, 14-0 before you can even blink your eye, and then. We kind of hit a standstill right there in the middle of the game, but then our players, once Coach Riley started clicking on that offense, and Spencer Rattler started dishing that ball off, and that speed D came out, it was a done deal. And they can sit here and say, well, we didn't have the players, our players opted out. Well, your Heisman quarterback was still playing, Kyle Trask. So
and he wasn't looking good. He didn't look good in that game, man. I think he dropped some notches in the draft. I was looking like, I hope he is not a Niner. I'll tell you that right now. When I seen him,
and that was going to be my question. That was going to be my follow-up to Coach Cain. Give us your take on Trask. What you seen it firsthand. 49er fans have been talking about this guy.
Man, I know you're back. I know you coach backers, man. I know you had to scheme and you had to see some tendencies, and I know you saw some things on film that. Come on, man. Talk to us about the game. Yeah.
I felt like the game wise, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, really good quarterback. But we had a good game plan for him, and it was personal for our players. So if I'm a Niners fan, I'm taking Trey Lance because I was at North Dakota State, and I know what Trey Lance is about.
Wow.
So
wow.
I'm not trying to knock Trey Lance. I know I was there.
He that nice, huh? He that nice, huh?
Trey Lance is the man. I'm just telling y'all. Trey Lance is the real deal.
They kind of overlooking him right now, but they said that Kyle Shanahan, like Cal, he likes him.
Yes, he's the real deal. Like Trey Lance is, who can I compare him to? He's like Lamar Jackson, man. He's fast, he's smart, he keeps you gotta remember, North Dakota State, we got a lot of quarterbacks that came through there. From Carson Wentz to Easton Stick, and then Trey Lance is the next one coming. So he's been tutored by some really good quarterbacks. I just like Trey Lance Barry. I hate to go off the college But
we
you
good,
guys,
man. We good. Hey, this is
you
all
guys about a quarterback
football.
that I would stand on a table for is Trey. It's Trey, man. He's special. Don't knock the North Dakota State in the 1AA because Carson had a down year this year, but before this, everybody's talking about Carson being an MVP player and all that other stuff. Like you got to include the COVID stuff and everything else that was going on with this year. Like Carson will bounce back, and that's what happens.
Yeah, he just need a coach. He needs a coach, though. I think Carson needs a coach, man. Let's just be real. That coach is desperate. Yeah, I know. That coach is desperate, bro. He that's why he put in Hurts like that. I mean, I still think that he needs him to win football games so he can keep his job. I mean, he got to do what he got to do, but he can't coach Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was a Niner. If Carson Wentz went to the Patriots, I mean, this guy would be on another level. So it's all about coaching, man. The Colts? Yeah. Oh, man, I ain't even think about the Colts. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he got action. So I mean, I think we all know coaching.
Look at Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? Like, Carson's the same type of quarterback as Justin Herbert. You put those receivers around Carson, those tight ends around Carson, like Justin Herbert was, like you get the same result. Carson's first 2 years, he had a lot of good receivers around him. Torrey Smith, obviously he had a bunch of other guys, but still, like,
yeah, he was all right, man.
Darren Sproles coming out of the backfield was legit. Like, so.
Yeah, he was kind of loaded up. Cool. And then Carson didn't have nobody around him. But go ahead.
I was going to say, Coach Cain, in terms of Kyle Trask, and you talked about the scheme against him and how it was executed. Can you kind of give us, without giving away too much, can you give us a little insight as to what is a hurdle for Kyle Trask on the field? Like, what is the scheme that you put in front of him that gave him that difficulty?
Well, anytime you watch a quarterback and you evaluate a quarterback from the defensive line perspective and the outside linebacker perspective, you want to see how a quarterback reacts when pressure's around him. Like, we got to stay in my room, being close counts. Even though you don't get the sack, but being close counts. Mm-hmm. So you want to get a kid off his spot. And we just felt like coming to the game, if we got Kyle Trask off his spot, we can cause errant throws. He's not a scrambler, so he's going to sit back there at 7 yards, just hold that ball 7 yards, 6, 7 yards. He ain't going to move up. He ain't going to move back. He's going to get on the spot. So we had to move him off his spot, and that's what we felt like that was our game plan. Just, hey, up front, guys, get him off his spot. Don't let him sit there and be comfortable. Like people say with Tom Brady, I get Tom Brady off his spot. It's the same thing like an Aaron Rodgers type quarterback. He ain't got a spot. He just running around throwing the ball around. So, but you like players that can sit back there in the pocket, quarterback sit back in the pocket, and you can say, we know he's going to be at 6 or 7 yards. Mm-hmm. So we can start throwing our moves at 4 to 5 and climb to 6 or 7 instead of saying, hey, guys, man, you got to keep an eye on this guy. He may spin out. He may do this. He may climb the pocket. It becomes a little harder for you. So for us, we just felt our game plan was get him off his spot. And as you can see, we got him off his spot, got him rattled. We only had 1 sack in the game. But now you go back and watch the game tape. He didn't sit back in that pocket. He had to step up. He had to move around. Then when you get him off his spot, he ain't comfortable.
Yeah, wow. Pressure's as good as the sack, man. Like I totally agree with that. And if he can't take that, he's going to go to a bad team, more than likely. Like he's not going to have the greatest offensive line or weapons around him. That's not a good look. You know what I mean? I need somebody that's going to be able to step up in there, either get hit in the mouth and deliver a pass, or know where the check down is, man. Throw it to the check down, man. Take what the defense gives you, whatever that may be. And I don't know if it's – I watched the game. I never thought he was great, so I just knew that he was pretty good. And I think maybe because his size and ability, sometimes they overjudge quarterbacks, I think. I think certain guys that are just really athletic get judged way different than the ones who just stand back there and throw pocket. Like it's almost like the pure point guard thing they used to have in the NBA, and that's like going away now because there's so many players that are kind of like hybrid players. And it's like when I look at like Fields and those guys that can actually move, like I'm more in tune with getting those guys because they can make plays even when plays are not there. Those guys like Tash, to me, I think that's like old school football now. I think that's cool, but they got to be elite. They got to be really elite for me to want to draft a quarterback that really doesn't have the athletic ability. But let me ask you this, Coach Cain. Let me ask you about your roster. You got some guys coming out to the NFL, man. Who do you think? Who's the guy you think on the roster, either this year, next year, that you think that man, like this guy is really good, man?
I like our running back, Ramondre Stevenson. He's actually from Richmond.
Is he?
His parents moved to Vegas when he was in the 11th or 12th grade. So he graduated from high school in Vegas, then went to Cerritos Junior College. But I like Ram. I mean, I think he does a really good job of just – I think he fits really well with the team that's going to play downhill, like a Steelers or a Titan. He gets announced, so he'll be in the Senior Bowl. I like our left tackle, Adrian Ely. He just announced.
Really?
Very athletic, like one of the biggest human beings you'll ever see when they walk through the door. No fat on him. And then we got we got a couple of players that kind of I can't really talk about. We're trying to convince them to stay. They don't know if they're it's one of those things, you know what I mean? Like, so
I get you. You gotta keep your guys, man. Look, I gotta stay employed. I gotta stay employed too, man. You know what I mean?
That I like a lot. We're trying to convince them to stay. You know, they do this draft grade where you send the kids their they send their name into to the NFL, and they let you know if they should go to school or come back or first round or second round grade. We're waiting on some stuff like that to come back. So waiting on their draft grades to come back. But
really,
and what is that? What system is that?
It's like through the NFL. So basically, if a kid wants to come out early, his junior year, you can you let the NFL know that, hey, this kid's thinking about coming out, and they let them know what their grade is going to be. So he's got first round grade, second round grade, or third round grade, or it's just come out to school. So there's a couple of kids we're kind of waiting on to see what their grades are going to be. Hopefully they decide to stay, because we'll be really good if they decide to stay. We're going to be good no matter what. We'll be elite.
Man, I gotta get out there. I gotta get out to that national championship game next year, man. I get it, man. Hey, real quick, let me ask you, like, so there's a lot of players that go into the NFL. How do you guys prepare them to go? Because you guys are a professional football team to me. You guys are like a professional football team out there. There's a few colleges that you could say that. Oklahoma's one of them. So let us know, how do you prepare your guys? Because when they go there, they think they're going to the NFL, all of them. So all of them, every single one. So how do you say, hey, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do? How do you prepare them to go to that next level?
Well, these programs like this, we call them blue bloods. You know, those old school programs are going to be good no matter what. When I'm gone, this school's still going to be good, no matter if I'm here or not. You know, this program and programs like this will weed you out if you're not prepared to go to the next level. So a lot of these kids will know right away because of the grind. Come into meetings every day, sit in meetings, and then we demand you to take notes like you're in the NFL. The styles in the way that we practice, the amount of install that we put in, the amount of weights that we ask for kids. We're constantly on them, you know, daily routine. So like, if you're going to go to the league, you got to practice like you're going to go to the league. And then another thing too, when you go to the league next year, they're going to try to replace you, and that's what we try to do too. We're going to recruit kids that are just as good or even better than you. So I'm always constantly trying to out-recruit this year's class and next year's class. Like, I'm bringing two kids in here next year, and I think the two kids are coming. They should be better than them. So I got to out-recruit you every single year. So that's another way, competition. Like, you can't have a bad day. You can't have a bad practice, because that kid behind you is waiting to take your spot, you know? And so that's another, the competition, especially a school like this. Like, you got to wait your turn, but you don't come in here thinking you're going to wait 3 years to play, because that's the wrong thought process. Like, you need to come in here like Marvin Mims, one of our receivers, who led the nation in receiving for a true freshman. He came in here and was like, I'm taking a job. And that's the thought process that you got to have, you know? And that's that's how I think it weeds you out. Like, those freshmen I'm bringing in next year, like freshman cuts actually coming in here in 2 weeks, Like they better think that they're going to take somebody's job. It's that simple. And I tell my players that too. Like my job's to out recruit you. So,
and I was going to ask, what is the biggest adjustment that the high school player has to make coming into college so they can be an effective player?
Time, man. These kids hit that wall so quick. Because you think about it, you guys remember in high school, like you go to school all day, then you go right to the practice field, and then you go home. Well, here you got to lift, then you got to go to meetings, then you got to go to practice, then you got to come back and get your treatment, then you go to school. You know, then you do it the next day. Then you do it the next day, and then you go at it. You 6 weeks in, and we call them freeway eyes. Some freshmen be looking at that freeway, like, oh my god, I want to go home. We call them interstate eyes. So it's the constant grind that kills those kids. And then for me, at my position, what the hardest adjustment for those kids is it's the speed of the game. Because like with DBs and receivers, you're always going against fast kids. No matter what level you're on, you're going to go against a fast kid in the neighborhood that can run just as fast as these kids here.
Yeah.
But it's the offensive linemen at this level are so big and they move so fast that's got to get caught up. Because remember, these defensive linemen in high school, they're so used to punch these kids and throwing them and go making a play. Well, this kid now is 6'7", 320 pounds and got elite feet. Like he can jump, he can go dunk, he can go play basketball. He's an elite athlete. So you can't do that anymore. So now you got to use some technique and you're not as strong. So now these kids are hitting you and they running through you now. So that's the biggest thing for linemen. It's just the speed of the game. Like Trent Williams, you guys Niners fans, Trent Williams actually played at Oklahoma. Remember that play this year where he came off and comboed up to that linebacker and ran right through him?
It was several of them.
Yeah. Trent Williams, elite athlete. Like that's what elite athletes do at that size. And these kids, D linemen are used to that.
Wow. Man, what about them coming in? I know the COVID situation, they haven't had a senior year this year. So how is it that you guys are recruiting kids? Are you recruiting them on their junior film or how's that working?
Well, the kid we took from Portland, he actually didn't have a senior year. The kid we took from Texarkana, at my position, he had a senior year. So it all depended on like where they were in the country.
California is no senior year right now.
No, California is no senior. That's tough to recruit a kid from California right now because you ain't got no eval. The kid from Portland was, for me, when I'm recruiting a kid, I want an elite athlete that's a basketball player. Like I always want to recruit basketball players. So he's a 6'6" kid, 250 pounds, plays football, play basketball. He was actually committed to Washington State for basketball. And then we got him to come and switch over and play football. So he's an elite athlete. So I could take a flyer on the kid like that because I know I can develop him and get him better than the kid from Texarkana. He played his whole senior year, so that was easy. But a California kid, that'd have been a little bit harder to take a kid. Like you had to feel really comfortable to take a kid without a senior year of film.
It's tough too, man, because there's a lot of great football players from this state. But it's crazy. Like the world we're in right now for these kids not to be able to play ball, and I don't think I don't know if they'll end up doing it, man. Maybe March. But we're still on lockdown. Like, I don't think
all the scholarships are gone by then.
Oh, you're right.
And ain't nobody sitting around waiting to fill a roster in March.
It's gonna be a loaded JC team in the country. I'm telling you, they're gonna be so loaded, they're gonna be ready to go. I'm telling you, they're gonna get most of those kids, man. I'm telling you.
Well, then at a school like Oklahoma, you recruit the country, right? So what you do is you recruit a shorter database because I'm only recruiting 8 kids for next year for 2 scholarships for next year. So then you say, okay, is this kid from California who ain't played in 2 years or this kid from Connecticut who's played last year? Okay, I'm gonna go look at this kid from Connecticut. They're the same kid. It's just because you have junior film on that kid already, it just becomes a little bit tougher.
That's rough, man. Let's go into a little bit before Oklahoma. I know that you were with the great Herm Edwards over at Arizona State, man. Let's talk about your experience with Herm Edwards. I know we talked briefly before, but give me some stories or talk to me a little bit about Herm Edwards and how great that was to be around him.
And Herm is, I was telling you earlier, there's certain people that you have to just don't talk because you may miss something. And that was Herm. Like he was like your favorite uncle, he was like your grandfather, and he was like your mentor all in one. And I was blessed enough to have Marvin Lewis there too when I was there. The old Cincinnati Bengals head coach was more special assistant to Herm. So I got two guys in my office that were both head coach in the NFL, minority head coach in the NFL. Like that ain't.
I forgot Herm was there. Yeah.
Man, that ain't. That's
not
something.
Herm, but Marvin Lewis. Yeah.
And Marvin's one of the. And let me go with Herm. So Herm was just such a great motivator. And I was telling you some stuff that he told me. And I remember when I left Arizona State, I sat in his office and he and I talked, and I'm crying because I love the man. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to leave him. But it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And he told me something that was stuck with me from here on out. He said, "Hey, if I give you any advice, bring a young brother along like I brought you along." Mm-hmm. And that stuck with me so much. So Herm was awesome. Marvin was great. Marvin, he was a head coach for the Bengals for 17 years. Mm-hmm. So hearing him talk from a head coach perspective and hearing him know every single position on the football field and what they're doing, it was remarkable. And then building that relationship with him too, and having him come in my meeting room, sit down and just take notes. When you got Marvin Lewis walking in your meeting room and you making sure your stuff is on point, and just taking notes, and come in my office afterwards, the head coach, you need to work on this, and this from your meeting, and being humble enough and not have enough ego where I'm like, okay, coach, I got you. You know what I mean? At that point, you think you know everything. Well, I don't know everything. Like I might as well listen to the man. And now he's helped me grow as a coach by some stuff he told me I need to get better on, or him watching my and saying, "Hey, Jamar, you need to focus on this with your drills. Make sure you never turn it back to your players when you're coaching." Just little things I never thought of. You know what I mean? And just hearing him talk to me like that, and where to stand during games. Like, why are you standing there? Stand over here. And then at one point, like, damn, coach told me, no, coach is teaching you. How about you shut up and listen? So it was a blessing, man. It was awesome.
Man, I would imagine I get like Herm Edwards got me fired up when he's talking regularly on television, man. Yeah. That guy got me ready to pad up right now.
To a wall.
You know what I mean?
You can hear that voice all the way down the hall. Like you be walking out here, okay, here come Herm. Or you're walking away. We're like Herm don't sleep. Like that's people don't understand that Herm don't sleep. So Herm would get to the office at like 4 a.m. Like go to bed at like 9, 10, 11, 12, whenever you go to bed, and be there at 4, like up at 4 in the weight room. And then like me, I'm coming to the weight room trying to get a workout in at 5:36. He's screaming at me, "Oh, coach, sleep when you dead. Sleep when you die." I'm 60-some years old, and he in there full body sweat working out.
Herm
Edwards?
He's an ex-NFL player. I mean, that's what they do.
And they're getting it. I'm sitting here like, rubbing my eyes, trying to get my body going to get a workout, and he's been going. And everybody that walks in that weight room after him, he's just talking mess to him. Look at me. I'm in here. How come you can't get better? Like, come on, brother. We need you.
So I know Herm is pretty infectious. So how does because I seen how the team played since he's been there. His personality is infectious, and I seen the energy that they play with now. They're not an easy out. Like that's a hard game. I remember when y'all went to Michigan State, and y'all went up out there and handled business. And, I was cheering. Yeah. I was watching every play because I'm a Pac-12 fan, man. So I was watching y'all out there, man. And I remember that young quarterback. I think he was a freshman.
Jaden.
That quarterback, man. I was so impressed. But also, I'm gonna tell you, man, that young wide receiver, Brandon Aiyuk, man. Go ahead and talk to me about your experiences with Brandon Aiyuk, man. I know you and him are pretty close, so talk to me about that, man, how he trained and just what he looked like, man. This is the nation of the 49ers, man. We really like to hear about our guys.
BA. Well, I call him BA, but BA was – so people forget, BA's junior year, I was telling you this, he didn't catch a lot of balls because the other receiver was N'Keal Harry. First team consensus All-American, whatever, first round pick to the Patriots. So BA didn't get a lot of balls. And a quarterback at that time loved just throwing the ball to N'Keal. N'Keal was 6'5". He just catch everything.
Snatch
he was He was just a grown man. And BA was just a JUCO transfer who just came in. So he was still trying to figure out his way, if I may say. So he made his way junior year on special teams, punt return, kickoff return. Had a couple of nice little runs. So his senior year, he comes back. And I remember I was sitting in my office, and if I look down in my office, there was like a little agility field. It may have been like February or March, whatever, but BA was out there every single day just catching balls, like jugs machine. If it was a scout team quarterback or the first team quarterback, and Jaden had just got there because Jaden was just graduated early from high school. So he was wearing Jaden out. And then my family wasn't out there yet, so I would come into work on Saturdays. It'd be BA and somebody else out there on Saturday just working out. And BA go in the weight room, then he just come out there and just catch balls. And I mean, just catching balls every different way, laying down, running routes, running slant routes, and I just sit there and just be looking at him from my office, like, damn, that boy out there getting it. Little dark skinned dude, I'm like, BA out there getting it.
With the longest arms ever. His wingspan is ridiculous, man.
Right. It's of a 7-footer. Like he had the longest wingspan, and I didn't realize how long his arms were until they start throwing him slants. He's just like.
Away from the body, and then going to get it. He's not. I think he's what was he like 6'1" or something like that? But
I'm saying 6 foot 6'1", but he's ripped. He's ripped but long. Yeah. But he got arms are of a 7-footer. His wingspan's of a 7-footer. It's so. So BA and I basically became really close because obviously he's from Reno, but was at Sierra College. I'm from SAC. Yeah. And then I was recruiting BA's cousin, Daniel Nagata, who was a running back at Folsom High. So BA just always come to my office and we would just talk and rap. And then I remember he came in there in the middle of the season, was like, man, they got to feed me more. And I was like, fool, you finna be a first round pick. What you mean they need to feed you more? He was like, and he kind of looked, and then AP Antonio Pierce, our linebackers coach, came down to my office, and I'm in there rapping with BA because we had that relationship. And I said, tell AP what you just said, because I didn't play in the league. AP won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Giants, right?
AP looked at him like, fool, you finna make a meal, man. Be quiet. Talking about they ain't feeding you enough. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, BA was just like, how them receivers, BA would have like 6 catches for like 150. So he thought he needed to get more catches, but nah, fool, you doing it right now. You blocking, you catching. He had 0 drops over 20 yards his senior year. Like you're a deep ball threat. So so then so that's how BA and I became really close. Last time I talked to him was right after he had got drafted. Sent him a text like, hey, happy for you. He's like, Coach, man, I appreciate everything you did for me. And I said, when I come to the Bay, it's on. He's like, yeah. And then so in June, he and I had just talked through text about looking for a place to live. And I usually leave those guys alone during the season.
Of course.
But I'm gonna get up with him in like March or April when I get back to Cali and try to say what's up to him. But I gotta get my BA jersey though. But nah, he's awesome, man. You can't say anything wrong about BA. Like I remember he had his little dusty blue Chargers. Like, Coach, I'm gonna get a new one. I hope he carry a little dusty blue Charger.
Hey, man,
an old blue Charger.
I mean, he hot. And to be honest with you, I know CD Lamb. I think CD Lamb had like 900 something receiving yards, but Brandon Aiyuk mixed 4 games, and CD Lamb didn't miss any, and he was only 320 yards behind CD Lamb. So that tell you how good he is in the first year. And Kyle Shanahan,
I had a feeling BA would go to the Niners because what's the GM for the Niners?
John Lynch.
John Lynch.
Who did he play for in Tampa Bay? Who was his DB coach?
Yeah,
it was
Herm Edwards. Yeah,
Herm was his DB coach at Tampa Bay.
I know that's his kid. He's the godfather too of the kids.
Yeah, it's a family thing at that level. So I had a feeling once like I want to say Philly passed on BA, and then I saw the Niners traded up. Did the Niners trade up to get
trade up?
The Niners?
Yep.
We did.
Niners traded up. And I was sitting at home. I'm like, Niners gonna take BA. Watch, and boom, it clicked. It hit. I said, "Yep, watch, it's gonna happen." Because I thought he was gonna go to the Eagles. The Eagles actually should have took him to help Carson out, but I'll leave that one alone.
Well, I'm glad he didn't. Hey, I'm glad he did, man. I want to say, I mean, just you could just tell he was well coached. He
Mm-hmm.
runs great routes. His hands is
Mm.
sticky. He is he can do nothing but get better. You know, he's surrounded by good football players. You know, like
He's
Debo.
in a
Debo's
great
good. Great
situation he can
situation.
be in.
Great
Best situation.
situation. And,
And
Absolutely.
and
and people forget, like when BA was out there catching them balls in March, April, May, when I'm out there watching them, it's 110 out there in Phoenix. And so no gloves, just catching it.
Dang.
wow.
Your hands are sweaty and everything. Like when you talk about work ethic and guys trying to get to the league and what it takes to get to the league, like firsthand, seeing him, seeing what Carson did, like being around first rounders and seeing, like, that's why I tell some of our kids here, like, if you want to get to the league, like this, it ain't fun
Mm-hmm.
because you got to sacrifice to get to the league. People just think, oh, I'm gonna be a first round. Nah, man, you got to do this stuff like what BA was doing, like what Carson was doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't fun. Like, don't think it's fun. Like, no, you got to put that work in.
It's a profession, and you go
Yeah.
there. They're paying you millions of dollars to come
Yeah.
in there and change their organization, and they
Mm,
expect you to change it even when nobody else around you is good. You have to excel, and you have to
right.
find a way to make it. There's no excuse. Even when you're wide
No.
receiver, my quarterback is not good. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be catching every ball that's thrown your way. So
Mm-mm.
that's just the expectations in the NFL. And then being a 49er receiver, I believe out of all the organizations, I'm sure everybody knows the greatness of who we had at wide receiver. Like we
Man.
expect we seen greatness, so we expect our receivers to come in and with Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan, just be special, man. Just do what you need to do, and he's come in, and there's been times where he's been the best football player on the football field, man. And
Absolutely.
I've watched it
Oh,
this year. I watched it this year, man, where it just looks, especially against the Eagles. When we play against the Eagles, and he straight up jumped over Cat, just jumped
yeah.
over. I mean, just his athletic ability, man. You could just tell, like he's worked on his craft. I don't know, how's his personality, man. Is he a quiet cat? Is he a guy who is self motivated, just energetic,
Nah,
kind of laid back?
just like how we talking right now. That's who he is.
Oh
Like
wow.
just how we rapping right now. That's BA. Like, ain't no ego about him. Like, Cain, what's up, man? Cain, what am I doing wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Just like eager to learn, down to earth, just how we talking. Like, if he was at your house right now, he'd be sitting on the couch just like one of us, for real.
That's
Like, that's
awesome.
just
That's
who
great.
he is. And
And
kind of,
and coach,
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, just you seeing it firsthand. I don't know if you got to catch any of his games this previous season, but what do you think? Based on his work ethic, what do you think he's working on right now to get prepared for the 2021 season?
I know BA, he's either in two places, Reno with his family or in Phoenix, probably on West Coast time at 7:30, probably just got done working out, running some type of routes or catching some type of balls. I'm 100. I'm just keeping it 100. Like, that's where he's at. He's in two places right now. He's back in Phoenix at the facility working out, or he's up in Reno with his family and just over at McQueen High School, just got done running some routes.
That's amazing.
I
He
just
he did something today to get better. Rather be in the weight room, running routes, just catching balls, doing something. I know 100% he did something today to get better. And that's a week out.
You can tell.
and
You can
that's
see it.
that's really good, man. Because when I see him, man, he reminds me of a young Isaac Bruce. That's
Yeah.
who I see. I see his
Yep.
like game kind of look like, and if that's the case, Isaac Bruce he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. But I'm just saying I see big things from him. What about the old Arizona State, man? I mean, I know I don't know if you keep up with any of them guys, man,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Herm's gonna be around for a little bit longer, or what? He's
Yep.
a lot older, man.
I
So
see them because they're going to have one of the best quarterbacks on the West Coast next year. Probably one of the best top 3 quarterbacks in the country next year, Jaden Daniels. And he potentially could be a first rounder here as he develops. But I think they should win the Pac next year, honestly. Like, we
really,
did such a good job recruiting there. that the foundation is laid. And between Herm and Marvin and AP, and then they got Zach Hill on offense now, came over from Boise State, run the offense. Like, I really like what they're doing. I think they should win the pack next year. Like, I don't think they should have won the pack this year, but COVID just killed everything. It's like, what you guys don't realize is, like, you never had the same meeting room week in, week out, because you never knew who was going to be in the meeting room. So, like, you can have one player sitting there. The next week he's out for 14 days. You don't even see him.
What?
Then also the next guy's up because he had contact tracing with COVID. So when you see all these guys talking about contact tracing or he's out with COVID, well, that kid's out of the building for 10 days. You don't see him. And if he get contact, he's out for 14 days.
So that's why they sit you down. That's why they tell you to go home and just be by yourself.
Yeah, so then, you go back to doing that now. So you try to get a kid ready for a game. And let's say a kid gets contact traced. That's 14 days. Then he comes back. He's back there for 2 days, and he gets COVID. Well, that's 24 days the kid had been out. Like, you don't see him for 24 days. In the football season, that's 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so
your job is lost. But at that time.
Yeah, when COVID killed the season for everybody. People just forget about that, man. So I think next year, once we get this virus under control, you'll see a team like Arizona State flourish.
Man, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about OU a little more before we get up out of here. I know your head coach he's really, really good. I know you guys are putting together a pretty strong team out there. I know you can't really go into predictions right now, man. That's I know the politics behind predictions, man. But do you guys do you feel like that next year is going to be you guys' strongest year, or do you feel like that these young pups need to develop another year or so before we have a real run at the things?
No, I think we're going to be really good next year. It's tricky though, because when you have success, like Oklahoma's always going to have a big target on their back. Like that's just who it is. We're going to get everybody's best game. That's why I tell my players all the time, you're going to get everybody's best game. You're not going to have nobody come to a game like, oh, I don't feel like being here. Let's just see what happens. No. Oh, they recruited him over me. Okay, watch what I do.
Especially Texas. I know that Red River, and they don't even be that good. And then they come in and they playing lights out for the first half. Just for the first half though. Then they come back down. But
that Red River game is something else, boy. I gotta tell you about that one. But man, I'm confident in what we do. We had a saying at North Dakota State that I kind of tell our guys all the time, man. Just stay humble and eat crumbs. That's it. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Just stay humble, eat crumbs. Because be allergic to the steak. I tell my guys that. Because that steak dinner, it tastes good, but be allergic to it. Because once you start eating that steak, you forget the grind. So just keep eating those crumbs. Just keep eating crumbs. You'll see. I tweet that all the time, man. Eat crumbs. That's it. That's my deal. Eat crumbs. Because that's for me. I don't hang up no pictures in my office. I don't do any of that. I don't have no pictures of my family up or nothing. Because I know that office is for rent. And the minute I get comfortable, the minute I don't stay humble or I start eating that steak dinners, they're going to replace me and get somebody else in there. So I don't have anything up. And you guys come off and you be like, damn, is this because I even work here? Yeah, I work here.
I wonder why I had no pictures of nobody at my job. I dig it, man.
Because I already know, like, I just want to eat crumbs. I'm going to be allergic to that steak dinner. I tell my guys that all the time. Like, that steak dinner will get you all the time. You guys see it all the time. You guys see that kid that comes as a first rounder, whatever it may be, being a Niners fan, I don't know, and see him, or he get that big contract, also he ain't playing anymore. Like, what happened? He got used to eating that steak dinner. He got used to go to Mastro's and getting that big old tomahawk steak. Nah, man. Do what got you.
And that's dope, and especially at that age. I mean, I can see if he was a 14-year NFL vet. I mean, you shouldn't have to go to every day of training camp. You know what I mean? But I mean, but you earned it. You earned it at that point. I'm talking about in college. You need to be the hungriest man alive. Every single snap, play, practice, everything needs to look like it is a NFL game. And
because every day here, you're building your resume. That's it. You're
Yeah.
building your resume. Whatever that resume may, whoever you're going to hand that resume to, you're going to hand it to a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or you're going to hand it to a GM and an NFL scout every day. Because I tell kids, especially kids that I recruit, like, for instance, I'll tell you, the kid from Portland, he had a couple, he's a high academic kid. And he had Stanford, had a couple other schools. I said, listen, man, you can go to those schools and get your academics. That's fine. But that CEO that you sit next to and you trying to get that job, one thing he's gonna remember is you as an OU football player. And he's gonna ask you, oh man, I watched you play in the Cotton Bowl. And he's gonna go home and tell his wife, oh, you know what? I interviewed this kid. He was really sharp, 4.0 student at Oklahoma. Guess what? He played in the Cotton Bowl. Remember we watched the Cotton Bowl? Remember the Fiesta Bowl we watched? Remember that championship game we watched? The kid he gonna remember.
That's dope, man. That's a good way to put it.
That's what it's about. That's what everybody was trying to run a coffee table and watch it. It's a water cooler talk. So now you become a kid they're talking about, oh man, yeah, he played at OU. Yeah, now he works for us. There you go.
Speaking of just how these kids have to transition after college life. So Booger McFarland kind of said, he alluded to some of the black players sometimes don't take it as serious. You getting the firsthand look, do you think the black players take it seriously?
I think it's like, I don't think it's a black or white thing. I don't think any kid when they first get here take it seriously until
that's exactly how I feel.
Football, athletics is a race to maturity. Think about that. It's a race to maturity. So whoever matures and passes is going to have the success that they need to have. So all these kids come in, they're young. It's their first way from home. They got access to stuff they never had access to. Like, give it a year or two. Then those kids grow and they mature. I've seen kids as freshmen come in who couldn't even figure it out. Then they leave here with a degree. And the beauty of my job is some of my closest friends are former players who are now successful black males, successful males, period. Don't matter what their colors, are successful, because they figured it out. There was a race of maturity for them. I think nobody knows it when they're young, but they all think they're going to go to the league, and it weeds you out in your third year. Like, oh, maybe I should focus on my academics because I ain't that good. Yeah, I was a 4 or 5 star, but I really wasn't that good. I was probably overhyped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So figure that out real quick when you put them pads on.
Then it's on top of us too. Like I tell my kids all the time, I wasn't the smartest kid. Man, I went to Valley High School, went to Sac City. I was not the smartest kid ever. Yeah, but you know what? I figured it out. I grew up.
Valley had soldiers then. Valley had soldiers then.
Yeah.
Straight monsters at Valley High School. So let me say that. That was probably one of the best football teams in the whole city. It's got to be top 5.
We had, like you said, we had
back in the day.
Oh my God, yeah, top 5 in the city. I mean, I'll tell you that. They not no more, but I mean, right now, yeah.
That was my dream job for the longest, was to go back to Valley and get it cracking again.
It's crazy. I was the head coach. I was head coach at Valley High School 3 years ago, and
wow.
And at the end of the year, I resigned. Man, I was like, look, man, I'm like Mike Singletary, man. I want winners. And I want people who want to win. And when the athletic director was like, wanted me to play a kid that threw a chair at a teacher, I was like, I'm not playing them. And if it costs me my job, I'm be at the door. No, it's not. But once you ask me that, your integrity is shot for me. Like I know that you're not here for these kids. I took this man aside and I told him, hey, you can be the team manager for the remainder of the year. He was a sophomore. He was really good. And he was like our best player. And I said, you can be the team manager for the rest of the year. Next year you come back. I want to make sure this end of this year. We had like 7 games left. So it was early in the season. And I told him, I said, you can come back next year. You can play. But I'm preparing you not only to play football at the next level, but I'm preparing you to be a man. And you need to be held accountable for something like this. I knew in his own life his mom wasn't held him accountable. They was up there mad at me because I set him down. He paid for it. He got suspended 5 days. Yeah, he did. But this is something you hurt this woman's face that she has to deal with. And then the teacher was shook, said she didn't want him in the class. It's a whole big story. But anyways, at the end of the year, I resigned. I sent him an email, talked to the team, let them know I was like, man, I'm back at Sac High, man. We need to go ahead and get these W's, baby.
No doubt.
We're not gonna be doing that. But yeah, Valley High School back, man. I'm telling you, man. They between like what was that, early '90s, man. Them was
Yeah, like in 90, 92, 93, you had Ray Caruth coming through there.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what
Ray.
I mean?
I remember Ray. Oh yeah.
Ray Caruth was a dude.
Monster.
Then you
Monster.
as the years went on, then you have when I went to school with Farms and Wheeler and some of these killers that was there. It was
Farms is still like I think he's fighting around in the UFC or something. Right?
Yep. He still scared me. Like that's my brother. He still scared me.
That cat is
and people forget, like, and you guys Niner fans, we were all juniors and seniors, and this little kid was a freshman. Was Keith Lewis.
Yeah,
Keith Lewis.
Ooh,
yeah.
Never wore no gloves, no nothing.
He was ugly in his uni.
Valley High soldier.
Yeah, he was. Oh, he was a monster. Yeah.
Yes. People forget Keith Lewis came through there. Then you had Manasa Poya. Like you had so many young cats that was watching that was doing it. Like people just forget about that.
Yeah. It was great.
There was some dudes that came from Valley High.
He was a beast on special teams.
Some dudes came from Valley High, man.
I saw Keith in Elk Grove a couple months ago, man.
Yeah, man. They still out here, man. And a lot of these cats are still out here, man. Just hanging and doing their thing, man. They good men, though, man. Just staying out the way, man. That's all we got to do, man. But I appreciate having you on, man. Just stay on, Coach. I'm gonna talk to you after the show. I'm gonna end the show. Anything, Coach, before we get up out of here, Blair?
No, I appreciate you.
Yeah, pleasure coming on. Thank you so much for coming on, Coach Cain.
Nah, no worries, man. Hopefully, I gave you guys a little bit of tidbits or something. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, man. This probably won't be the last time. We definitely holler at you. But hang on one second. I want to speak to you, and I must get up out of here. 49er fans, we out.